What up YouTube, TK here, and today we have a very special machine on the slab. This is the delicious C64 Ultimate from the Reborn MOS technology, the Reborn Commodore. This is the newly manufactured, brand new Commodore 64 for the new era. Very exciting. So let's go ahead and unbox it in the way we know how. We're about to see the real thing. Very glad I didn't hack at this too violently. Wow, look at that. Would you look at that? Oh, that is stunning. It looks just like something out of the 80s, except maybe a little bit better, but that box art is stunning. It's glossy, it's beautiful. Now, there are actually multiple colors of this. A lot of people have been reviewing this one. I've actually got the basic beige, very exciting. Looks the most like the old school C64C. Very cool, very exciting. Okay, ready for this? This is so nice. Oh, that is so fun. They really thought about the unboxing process. We have a beautiful little screed from the president and CEO, Perry Fractic, the new Commodore. We have a guide to the GEOS GUI. Now, what am I looking at here? Welcome to your digital oasis. I think that's just a protective piece of plastic. Pull out our accessories. Okay. Oh, look at that. It's actually a USB drive with what you need. But look at that, is so fun. The attention to detail on making this an enjoyable experience is clear to see. We have some of the same documentation in case you need it. Good to have that there twice. Stickers, those are going straight on the laptop. And we have an HDMI cable. They didn't have to put this in here. Everyone's got an HDMI cable, but I really appreciate them giving me one because now I don't have to go and rip one out of the TV. And, okay. We have the case for our faux cassette and our power supply. Now, will they have the Australian one? Yes, they do. Very nice. Actually looks quite old school, except the fact that it doesn't weigh 20 pounds like an Amiga power supply. All right, we're gonna slop this box out of the way. Oh, so beige. Oh, I'm loving this. Feels quite weighty, as a retro computer should. Yeah, I like that. We're just gonna undo the tape. Oh, look at that. Oh, that is fantastic. The feel, I can only imagine quite a bit of research and development went into getting that just right. Unlike a lot of retro computers, especially the Amiga 500, I feel like I could actually touch type on that with a bit of practice. We also get this lovely user guide, just like the manuals in the 80s. Look at that. That is beautiful. I really love how all the little bits and pieces, all the little details that you would get back in the 80s, they've sort of faithfully recreated. Oh, definitely want to get into this. So good. So this is our beautiful machine. It really does resemble the original in so many ways. It would actually be really fun to take this back to someone in the past and see if they notice the difference. We have our two control ports. We have the multifunction switch on the side, and we have our 8-bit power supply. I mean, it's just a DC barrel jack for the power supply. Memory expansion, RF out, video, serial, cassette, and user port where obviously, okay, actually we've got HDMI, Ethernet, and 2 USB ports. I kind of love the idea of plugging this into your home network via Ethernet. I may actually do that, but I think for now we're just gonna get it powered up, hooked up to HDMI, and see what the initial experience is like. All right, so it's time to power this thing up, so let's go ahead and yank the keyboard and bring in our glorious new machine. Ah, so good. So we're going to go ahead and plug it into HDMI, and that really is kind of the killer application here, is that you're getting a Commodore 64 that you can just use with a modern screen. You don't need a CRT. You don't need to go and hunt down an old CRT and mess around with all that. We're also going to go ahead and plug in our power. And we see that blip. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Oh, this is exciting. Look at that, ultra widescreen, something that the original could never do. All right, so we're gonna write a little program here. I'm still learning the location of the keys, but it does touch type well. You just have to know where everything is. And some of the function keys aren't quite where you might expect on a PC keyboard, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and try this. Oh, look at that. That is brilliant. Doesn't that just make you happy? It's actually going a little bit too fast. What's cool is if you did actually buy this for basic, you actually have like the full-on guide. The user guide here just has a crash course in basic, all the stuff, you know, even up to doing sound stuff, just like the old machines used to come with. They used to teach you how to program the thing when you bought it. So different from computers today. Let's see what else this thing can do. Now that demo very much shows this thing behaving as a classic C64. Let me show you this thing not behaving as a classic C64. We hit the multifunction switch, and what do we see? We get a full-on menu system for all the advanced features here. We've got the disk file browser, we've got the memory and ROM control, turbo boost if you want to go faster, video setup, audio setup, particularly key when you're doing stuff with HDMI or whatever else you've got set up, joystick and controllers, LED lighting if you've got the clear version, but also network services, because don't forget, this thing actually has Ethernet right in the back. And you're not just limited to Ethernet either. You've got wired and Wi-Fi, because you can just throw that in anything these days. Beyond that, modems, printers, user interface, built-in drive A, built-in drive B. These are basically emulated drives, and of course, your system information. In particular, Wi-Fi is so funny to me. Once upon a time, this was something, you know, you could hack into a Commodore 64 with some add-on dongle. Now it's just built in, and it just makes it like the combination of retro with something that just works with all your modern hardware is kind of crazy, and it just makes working with this thing and doing fun stuff quite easy. Now you might be wondering why Wi-Fi is so important on a machine like this. Here's the deal. Just like the HDMI port makes hooking this up to a screen easy, Wi-Fi makes running the software you want easy. For people that just want to boot up, play some old games, run some old software, it's so much quicker on this thing because you don't have to find a way to get disk images onto a device, then plug it into the Commodore 64 after plugging it into your PC. It's all so much easier than that. You literally just come on the side here, flick the multi-switch, and look at the menu. And when you get to the menu, you have something wonderful called CommoServe File Search. This is basically a huge community-run archive full of old games, old software, all kinds of old stuff that used to run on the Commodore 64. So let's just try a simple query for Speedball, which is one of my favorite games from the Bitmap brothers of this era. I used to play it on my Commodore 64 DTV, and it's almost as easy to play here. Straight away, Speedball RIP and the original Speedball published by Fairlight. So easy, literally just grab it, go. Holy crap, I can't believe it's that easy. Oh my god. If you just want the basic experience of playing these old retro games on real feeling hardware, and you don't want the fuss of actually dealing with stuff from 40 years ago, this is such a great way to do it, and it feels so authentic, you really can't tell much of the difference. Now, naturally, I sort of have to check out this little thing, which is a USB drive that you're supposed to run the very second, I think, you boot this thing up. Actually, the instructions are quite simple. Pop out the USB plug, stick it in the back of the C64 Ultimate, and power it on. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, so we've got our little tape-themed USB drive. We're going to pop it in to the USB port. Try not to break anything in the process. And we're going to power up and see what happens. We are going to go into the file browser, and we're going to go to the USB drive and see what they got for us. And they've got so much. GEOS, boot disk, if you wanted to do a GUI, yeah, absolutely want to look at that. Even though it was an 8-bit machine, it had a GUI. If you wanted one, it's got BBS stuff, it's got demos, it's got exclusive stuff, and games, and music. Oh, music has to be music, all right. This is great. Just such a good way to demo what the machine can do. Just include a bunch of SID compositions right out of the box. Okay, I'm not sure why holding down that key does that, but that is fantastic. So basically what you get on here is a whole ton of demos for the C64 Ultimate, a whole ton of cool Commodore 64 stuff, old school music discs, old school games. So you can just start enjoying this thing right out of the box without having to go hunting for stuff online. Let's have some... Oh, late to party. That sounds like me. Okay. Look at the little bubble head. You reckon that's meant to be Hasselhoff? Oh, this is so cool. Absolutely packed. The amount of effort that went into compiling all this stuff, you know, creating a user guide. I'm amazed. I honestly thought this was just going to be like some bare bones thing, like the C64 DTV, that had some basic functionality to emulate a Commodore 64, but whatever you did with it from there would be up to you. Instead, they've given you this sampler pack, which is loaded with stuff. They've given you a user guide that explains how to do everything from hook up printers to hook up virtual printers. It kind of blows my mind how ready to go this thing is with stuff to do. So many of these kind of projects are like, yeah, here's your motherboard, or here's a case with a motherboard in it, and you just have to figure it out from there. They've kind of given you like everything you could possibly want to play with, and you can still do whatever you want with it after that. All right, but let's see what the games are like. Now, here's the cool thing. If you don't have a joystick like me, you're not out of luck, because the Commodore 64 Ultimate has joystick emulation. So let's go ahead and boot this up and see how we go. Oh, this looks brilliant. Ah, so this is probably where I have to turn on, this is where we probably have to turn on joystick emulation. So we go joystick, input, WSD, ooh. We will set it to WASD, emulating a joystick on port 1, and we will go back, we will save that to flash, we will close that. I don't know what I'm supposed to use for fire. Let's figure that out. I think it's enter. I think enter is fire. Or return. Everything still takes ages to load, just like a real Commodore 64. Alright. WASD and return. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, this is it. This is the magic. This is the juice. Oh my god, these motherfuckers. Oh, it's so good. Why would you play with a joystick? The keyboard is so good on this thing. Oh, yeah, joysticks are lame. I don't know, the joystick's probably really fun too, but this is, these keys are so responsive. Oh, all right. So I'm going to show you here. Like, I'm just playing. Oh, this is so much fun. So like, even if you buy someone one of these and they don't have a joystick, they're not going to care, as long as you teach them how to use joystick emulation. That's not in the manual. It's not in the user guide that I saw anywhere, but it is a thing. So it means you can use this without having to get a separate peripheral, and you can play these games and have an awesome time. Oh, this is sweet. Especially because like a lot of old school, oh my gosh. Oh, a lot of old school C64 joysticks, especially ones from 20 years ago or 30, 40 years ago, they're very worn out and they hurt the hell out of your wrists when you use them. The keyboard, not so much. Oh, this is fantastic. Let me get a close-up of me playing this. I could totally play Speedball like this. The cool thing is, if you want to download more stuff to run on the C64 Ultimate, you've already got a USB drive to do it. Then all you got to do is grab the flash drive, chuck it in the back, and power it up. Then you just bring up the menu, scroll your way to the file system, and you should be able to fire up exactly what you want. For example, it was very easy for me to get international soccer running on here. At the same time, I don't know how to play it because I wasn't born in 1983. But with the joystick emulation, with the USB drive, it's just so easy to download stuff and get it going with zero peripherals. You literally even get the HDMI cable in the box, and you'll need to pass better than that, I think. Is it completely authentic to the old way of doing things? No. We're playing on an incredibly widescreen, high-definition display. It doesn't make exactly the same sounds. It's different in a few minor ways. Regardless, it does feel really good. It's got the keyboard, it's got the case, it's beige as heck. It's really good. Now it is time for one I've really been waiting for. And we're going to wait for it to load. What I always love on these old games is you had to try and figure out which keys to press to actually get things to move forward. Sometimes it was return, sometimes it was space, sometimes it was fire on the first joystick. In this case, it was space. We used to do this thing back in the day where we'd fire up a new game and it would just be like mashing the keyboard, trying to figure out exactly what the keys were to even play the game. That would normally take about half an hour. Not so with Speedball though, which is a simple joystick experience. Okay, where are we? Come on, come on, come on, come on, pass. I fumbled the tackle quite badly. It is amazing how responsive this game is. Like, so many other 8-bit games ran at like 12 FPS. Not Speedball. Speedball is just brilliant. I mean, you can't have a game called Speedball and have it run slowly. I mean, that was always the problem with Stunt Car Racer on the Amiga 500, was that it ran quite poorly. Speedball on the C64 was brilliant, except when the enemy scores on you. It even had a great career mode. Put it in the goal hole. Now it is time to boot up Sid Wizard and see what that is like. So one thing that the C64 Ultimate is probably going to be pretty great for is music production. Everyone loves the Sid chip. It makes beautiful noises. It makes beautiful music. Much in the same way that there's a whole raft of new modern Game Boy remakes out there. This is basically the same thing for the Commodore 64. So here I've loaded up Sid Wizard for the very first time in my life. I've made a lot of chiptune, but I've never made it on the Commodore 64. And this is exactly the kind of awesome thing you can do if you get one of these. You can make a song this good. Pretty catchy, right? I'm actually going to try and make something better. But literally, if you just wanted to start making chiptune with something close to authentic hardware, this is a really great way to do it. Now, if you play along in Sid Wizard for a couple hours, you might get something like this. Now, for somebody that's literally never worked with a tracker on a Commodore 64 before, it's pretty amateur, but it's also pretty fun. I'm pretty happy with what I was able to come up with there in literally just a couple hours. If I kept playing with this, I could probably build out a really sick track. This was very fun, and I can imagine this would be an excellent way to do chip music, especially if you wanted to perform live. You know, you plug this thing in, you know it's going to work. So ultimately, all I can say about this machine is if you want a Commodore 64 that feels as much like the real thing as possible with a minimum of fuss, this is a great way to go about it. If you really want to do the whole CRT thing, you really want to run a 6502, the whole thing, go ahead and do it. But if you just want to do C64 stuff with something that really feels like a C64, this is a killer way to do it. You know, it's beige, it says C64 on it, it's got the power LED, and it's a proper red one, and the keyboard is just fantastic, and you can just use it with any old screen you've got in the house, and it's got Wi-Fi. Like, it just makes everything really easy. So I put this thing through its paces, I played games, I ran demos, I even made music on it, and the one thing that got to me about this was that it was just so easy to use. At every step, I could just drop a ROM on the USB drive, boot her up. I could pull a ROM in over Wi-Fi, boot her up. I could use the keyboard as a joystick and just play a game. Nothing was too fussy, nothing required digging through config files or messing about. I often just had to hit the multifunction switch, do a little bit of configuration, and I was off and going. It just made doing all this old retro gaming stuff and retro computing stuff really easy. So the cool thing is, it really doesn't matter what your bag is, whether you want to do gaming, whether you want to hook up old printers, whether you want to do some modem stuff, whether you like tape drives. It's all really straightforward. It's got all the ports, it can do all the stuff, it's all right there. And if you want to do more modern stuff, you want to play with USB, you want to use Ethernet, you want to get this thing on the internet for whatever silly reason, you can do that too. And you don't have to buy any adapters or some weird stuff off the internet. It's all just baked right into the unit. It makes doing whatever weird C64 stuff you want to do really, really straightforward. I've had a great time playing with this thing. I can't believe how good it is. It just really does feel like a really good C64. I really enjoyed the review unit. It was just awesome. Till next time, TK out.